guys! So this week on Nostalgia Friday, we're gonna go a little down the rabbit hole and talk about some of probably the most saddest episodes from your childhood that probably made you cry like a baby. Now for me, I don't think I would have had cried, or maybe I would have felt a little bit of emotion. Yeah, and go ahead, you could say I have no soul, because, whenever I see a sad moment in a movie, I never cry. I'm just like, eh. I mean, this is pretty sad, but man. But yeah. So anyways, let's get on with it. Also, warning, you might want to grab some tissues with you, just in case. Okay, first episode on the list is the Rugrats Mother's Day special. Of course, I had to start off with one of the biggest, Nickelodeon shows of the 90s that, gave us probably one of the saddest episodes of all time. Why don't we read about it? Okay, Tommy, Phil, and Lil see Angelica making a macaroni sculpture of herself. And Angelica explains that she's making it as a Mother's Day present for her mom. After having Mother's Day explained to them by Angelica, Tommy and the twins set out to find presents for their moms. Soon, Chaz and Chucky Finster arrive, and Chucky goes off to play with his friends. Chaz gives Dee Dee a box of his wife's old belongings, and he asks her to keep it safe, fearing that Chucky might find it. Chaz explains to Dee Dee that Chucky has been getting into stuff lately. Dee Dee tries suggesting that Chaz should talk to Chucky about the box and it contains, but agrees to keep it safe and puts it the entryway closet. Oh boy. Chucky joins his friends in their search for Mother's Day presents, but doesn't know who he would give one to. The other babies remember that Chucky doesn't have a mom and ask why. Chucky tells them simply that he doesn't know. He just doesn't have one. During their search for presents, Tommy and the twins start reassuring about their favorite memories of their moms. Phil and Lil remember the best gift they ever gave their mom. Their first laugh shared while their mom was breastfeeding them. Oh God. When they were infants, Tommy remembers the first time he saw his mom. He was in a car both scared and alone. His mom came and held his hand, and he didn't feel scared or alone anymore. Chucky admits to his friends he dreams about having a mom. One dream he has is in which he and his mom are outside together in their backyard, and Chucky wasn't even scared of a butterfly that was flying around. Tommy and the twins decide to help Chucky find a mom, first trying with Spike and then Lil, both of whom are terrible. Chucky says Lil is only slightly better than Spike, and Chucky decides to be his mom, but only so Chucky will finish the macaroni statue, allowing her to lie around instead of working on it. Angelica renames Chucky Brian, explained that Chucky is a dumb name while Brian is a TV name. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, Dee Dee is planning to take her own mother, McKenna, to her favorite health spa for Mother's Day, which features different muds from around the world to bathe in. Betty approves of her choice as Stu comes in with a Mother's Day machine that will make breakfast in bed for Dee Dee. Betty points out that it's nearly lunchtime, but Dee Dee gets into bed anyways. Unfortunately, Stu's machine breaks down and splatters a smoothie all over the bedroom, which it then sort of cleans up. Stu and Betty head downstairs to repair it while Dee Dee and Mick leave for the health spa. Downstairs, Betty sees the program Stu created for the machine, and she decides to reprogram it with her own ideas of what being a mother is about, while Stu tries to repair it on his invention. Back outside, Angelica orders Chucky to get a specific dandelion for her as a finishing touch on the macaroni head. However, Chucky is horrified when he sees that there is a bee on that particular dandelion. Tommy tries to find out what is wrong. Chucky tells him that the flower he had to pick has a bee on it. Are dandelions even considered flowers? Just curious. Oh, right. Darn it. Oh, yeah. Sorry, what was I? I forgot where I lost my spot. Oh, hold on. Oh, even the, okay. Tony tries to see what's wrong. Okay, Chucky tells him that the flower he has to pick has a bee on it, even though Tommy points out Chucky that the flowers look the same. Chucky still won't give in. Tommy confronts Angelica about Chucky trying to get the flower with the bee on it, causing her to fake cry so Chucky will get her the dandelion. Chucky picks the dandelion and is chased all over the yard by the bee and the still malfunctioning Mother's Day invention. Oh God, Stu and his invention end up in a mud puddle by the tree. The dandelion Chucky picked was wrecked in the chase. When Angelica finds out, she says it's no longer a flower but a green stick with a thing on top. She yells at Chucky, who accidentally knocks over her macaroni head, breaking it. Angelica bashes the gang for a time out on the closet. In the closet by the front door, and informs Chucky she's no longer his mom because of his actions. Wow. Yeah, we can all agree Angelica's a brat. Inside the closet, Chucky feels sad because he's back to having no mom, but the other babies point out that Angelica as a mom was far worse than Spike and Lil. They point out a mom would love him no matter what, and mention that the things a good mom does. Chucky says his dad does all those things and decides his dad is also a mom. Coming to that conclusion, he decides he'll give Chaz a present. While looking for a poor present inside the closet, the gang finds the box Chaz left. It contains a little shovel, a book from flowers inside of it, and a photo of a young woman. Chucky is amazed because it's the same woman he dreams about and decides to give it to his dad. Charlotte arrives at Dee Dee and Stu to pick up Angelica. Angelica presents the remains of her macaroni head, unhappily explains the baby's wrecked her present. Charlotte, however, likes it and calls it a deconstructionist. Meanwhile, Betty finishes updating the invention programming, which causes it to malfunction even more. The machine vacuums up mud and heads back into the house towards the front door. And it turns out Dee Dee and Guy just arrived back with Megan thoughtfully and unimpressed by the spot. As soon as they walk in the front door and the device explodes, splattering mud everywhere, Dee Dee begins to cry and explains he wanted to give her something she liked. It hugs Dee Dee and tells her that is something she does like, and Dee Dee smiles. Yeah. Stu appears moments later and hands Dee Dee a dandelion, which amuses her. Moments later, Phil and Lil fall out of the closet fighting over a plunger. Where they see Betty, they hand it to her. Tommy gives Dee Dee her own dandelion, causing her to remark that she received a flower from both her men. Chaz arrives and sees Chucky holding something. When Chaz asks what it is, Chucky holds out the photo and everyone goes silent. And of course, the one moment everyone remembers. Everyone goes silent. Chaz becomes uncomfortable and accepts the photo, telling Chucky he'll be sure to put it somewhere safe. Chucky is hurt and confused by Chaz's reaction because he thought it was a nice picture. Chaz goes to put the picture back in the box, but Dee Dee stops him and says that he ought to share these things with Chucky. Chaz finally admits that he's afraid that Chucky will miss her like he does, but Dee Dee says that they can miss her together. Aww. Realizing that it's better than having Chucky forget his mother, Chaz walks back to Chucky and kneels down with the photo and tells Chucky that the woman in the photo is actually his mother, Matilda Finster. In their own backyard, Chaz goes through the contents of the box with Chucky. He explains Matilda loved the outdoors and flowers and planted almost everything in the backyard. Chaz tells Chucky that she loved to spend time with Chucky, revealing that the dream Chucky has about having a mom where he's in the garden. Matilda encourages him to not be scared of a butterfly. Is actually a genuine memory of his mother and most likely his favorite, Sally. Matilda became terminally ill and eventually passed away, but Chaz shows Chucky a diary that Matilda started keeping when she was in the hospital and reveals that the very last thing she had written in it was a poem and had written for Chucky while Chaz reads out loud to him. Afterward, Chaz places the photo and poem in a double frame, which he now keeps openly in their living room. The next time his friends are over, Chucky happily tells them he does have a mom and that she's in all of the good things outside, showing that he understands the poem she wrote for him, to a certain extent at least. And there you go. Next episode on the list is I Remember You from Adventure Time. So, what the heck? The Ice King performs a cover of Marceline's Fry song to Gunter, and he gets the idea to ask for Marceline's help to write a song to oppressed princesses, ripping some pages from his scrapbook so he can use them as inspiration for lyrics. He flies to Marceline's house. Finn and Jake notice him and think that he is up to no good. Marceline refuses to help him at first, but the Ice King flies into the house and tangles himself up, trying to set up his instruments. Finn and Jake arrive, assume that Marceline has seduced him, and offer to take him away, but Marceline tells them that they are writing a song together, accompanied by Marceline. The Ice King sings a song addressing to Princess Bubblegum, the other various princesses of Ooh, revealing that he is so alone and needs pretty much anyone. He starts acting crazy, shooting ice bolts at the ceiling and becoming apologetic for pushing Marceline when she tackles him. He flies into the kitchen. Marceline finds him hiding on the fridge. Despite calling the Ice King an annoying, pitiful old man, she admits that she is glad to see him. The Ice King is surprised to find out that she likes him and asks for a hug, which Marceline gives him, which when he misinterprets her feelings and tries to kiss her, Marceline angrily confronts him and asks if he really does not remember his past or who he is calling by his real name, Simon. And the Ice King proclaims that he is a lyricist, taking out the pages of his scrapbook to provide it. Marceline shows him a newspaper clipping with a photo of himself before he was the Ice King, holding the edge and before the Mushroom War. She also finds a photo of herself in the pile, which he took on the back. Marceline finds a message from Simon directed at her, revealing his anguish and losing himself as his magic crown transforms his mind and his fear that Marceline will lose him as a friend. As he continues to transform, the message also directs that the crown's magic was helping him survive the Mushroom War, and that he knows he has to protect Marceline in the destroyed world, but that he is torn between his need to protect her from its danger and from himself as he loses his mind. The Ice King has no memory of writing the note, but tells her to read it as a form of a song. While he plays the drums, as Marceline sings a message on the back of the photo, she becomes frustrated that he does not recognize his own words and shows him something that he wrote. He He sings a message expressing regret and asks for Marceline's forgiveness. As they sing, a flabbergasted Finn and Jake watch from outside with binoculars, not knowing what's going on. A flashback reveals a ruined city in the aftermath of the Mushroom War, and a young Marceline standing alone in the wreckage, crying. And a not yet fully transformed Simon finds her and wipes her tears, gearing her up with a stuffed animal, Hambo. And there you go. Hey, what do you know? Another episode about mothers, except this one isn't dead. Or at least, well, this character thought it was dead. So, this time we're looking at the episode Mother Simpson from The Simpsons. So, let's see. After learning that Mr. Burns wants his employees to clean litter for a highway mainstay by his company on a Saturday, Homer fakes his own death using a dummy to avoid it. When Marge discovers his scheme the next day, she makes Homer go to the Springfield Hall of Records to explain he is not dead. He argues with a clerk who claims that Homer's mother is still alive, although he thinks she died while he was young. Homer visits what he thinks is her grave, only to find that it belongs to Walt Whitman. After falling into a grave that had been dug for him, Homer is approached by a woman who chastens him for falling into his son's grave. Homer recognizes her as his mother, Mona, and they share an emotional reunion. Lisa soon bonds with her parental grandmother, but notices Mona runs inside the house when a police car drives by. Suspicious, Lisa shares her concerns with Bart, who raids Mona's purse and found several driver's licenses with different names. Marge and Homer wonder why Mona left her son and never returned for 26 years. The family confronts Mona, who reveals the truth about her past. In 1969, Mona joined a group of hippies to protest a germ warfare laboratory owned by Mr. Burns, which was preparing to poison everyone in Springfield. The group detected an antibiotic bomb inside the lab, killing the germs. An angry Burns was trampled by the hippies while attempting to stop them. When Mona went back to help Burns, she was recognized as one of the protesters, forcing her to leave Homer and his father Abe and go into hiding. After learning that he never received any of a weekly care packages his mother sent, Homer goes to the post office to claim them, taking Mona with him. While they are there, Burns recognizes Mona and calls the FBI, who track her to the Simpsons home. Before she can be arrested, Homer receives the anonymous tip that his mother is about to be arrested, and he helps her escape. The tipster is later revealed by Chief Wiggum, who was a security guard at Burns' lab at the Miss Curtin and allowed him to finally enroll in the police academy. Realizing she must go into hiding, Mona says goodbye to Homer as she parts with another group of hippies. After she leaves, Homer sits alone in his car and watches the stars as well into the night. And there you go. Yeah, sad, isn't it? Oh, wow. I mean, just wow. Can't wait until I get to this episode from whatever season it's from. But yeah. Oh, the 8th season. Or no. 7th. Yeah. I'll have to look. I'll have to. Okay, guys. Well, so you ever, you ever watched a special where I guess a child feels, gets cancer and, chemotherapy happens? Well, that's what Peanuts did. Yep. So, why don't we see? Okay, Janice Elmons is a new friend and classmate of Charlie Brown and Linus, who loves to play on the swings. The special begins with Charlie Brown, Sally, Linus, and Janice waiting for the school bus. As Janice boards the bus, she hits her arm on the rail and causing It's a bruise. Linus notices that Janet has been bruising easily lately. When they arrive at school, Janet starts feeling ill. She tells Linus that she is feeling tired and has a fever. So she is sent to the school nurse and is later picked up by her mother. 3 days later, the class is told that Janice is in the hospital. Oh shoot, yep. After school, Linus and Charlie Brown decide to visit Janice in the hospital, where she tells them that she has cancer, specifically leukemia. Janice explains what tests the doctor did to discover that she had leukemia. Blood tests, bone minor tests, and x-ray. She then shows them to Viola and explains her chemotherapy. Despite her illness, Janice is determined to recover and return to school so she can play on the swings and be with her friends again. The news of Janice's illness hits Lance especially hard as he appears to be falling for her. As Charlie Brown and Linus leave the hospital, Linus asks, "Why, Charlie Brown, why?" That's the name of the special. Coincidence? Why? He then walks home feeling both sad and angry, thinking about Janet's condition. When he arrives home, he challenges the ignorance of his sister Lucy towards Janice's illness and tells her cancer does not spread like a cold or flu. It's not long until Linus tells Lucy that he remembers the part where he touches Janice head, trying to feel how warm she was. Lucy was shocked. However, the incident shock becomes an outrage when she finds out that Linus actually touched Janice. She also says that Janice probably got that disease because she is a creepy kid. Some months later, Janice's health has improved enough for her to return to school, but she has lost her hair because of the chemotherapy and wears a cap to hide it. At school, this attracts the attention of a schoolyard bully who teases Janice for the color of the cap she is wearing. He knocks it off, revealing her bald head. He then makes fun of her for it. Livid, Linus stands up for Janice and confronts the boy angrily, telling him about Janice's illness and asking him if he would like to go through what Janice had gone through. The boy apologizes to Janice and Linus compliments her on the cap. As Christmas approaches, Linus goes to Janice's house to give her a present, but one of Janice's two sisters inform Linus that she is at the hospital again receiving treatment. The other sister complains of the attention Janice has been receiving and later admits that she and her other sister feel left out since Janice got sick. Linus gives her the present and leaves. By the beginning of spring, Janice returns again and tells Linus that she has a surprise room, and she reveals the surprise at the end of the special with playing on the swings. The surprise fills Linus with joy as Janice's cap falls off, revealing that he has long blonde hair. Hair has grown back ever longer than it was before, making the end of her chemotherapy and meaning she has recovered. During the closing credits, the cap falls to the ground and Janice laughs one last time, although it's not revealed whether there was the same depiction. It was the same depiction in the first place. Wow. I mean, really? Can you believe Peanuts did this? I mean, I know I couldn't. I mean, I only imagine how I would feel if I had to watch this with my parents. Or, then again, if I ever asked questions about this, they would kind of have a serious talk with me about it, so yeah. Okay, now, as I may have said before, I used to be a big fan of Alvin and the Chipmunks. And, well, I had plenty, DVDs of, the show from the 80s, growing up. But I didn't have every episode, and the episode I'm talking about is probably this one that I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have been upset over, but thinking about it, it is pretty dark and depressing. And the episode is Cookie Chomper the Third. Oh boy. So when I read about it, okay, all I could find was pretty much just, was just, all I could, I guess maybe this description could work. I mean, all I could find was this wiki fandom stuff about it, but yeah, what the hell. Okay, Cookie Chomper the Third was Alvin Seville, Simon Seville, and Theodore Seville's first pet, a stray kitten with gray fur that found her way into the Seville house through an open window. Alvin wanted to name her Chomper. Theodore wanted to name her Cookie. Simon wanted her to have a more specific name. So they decided to call her Cookie Chomper the Third. Dave agrees to let them keep her, and everyone even buys a collar and tag for her to wear. Simon also helps Dave overcome his allergy to cats. However, soon after Cookie Chomper the Third is hit by a car and killed, Dave helps the boys deal with their grief and embrace the memories of their brief but happy time with Cookie Chomper the Third. And the boys sing beautiful memories and remembrance of the kitty. Oh boy. And also, since this was so short, I'm just gonna read some trivia. And I'm sorry if I get some names wrong. Okay, trivia. Okay, like Cookie Chomper the Third, Tiger Lily, Ross Bergerson Jr., and Janice Caraman's dog was also run over by a car and killed. They later adopted Lily, a small brown dog. Wow. Wow. I must say, I guess this is where they got the inspiration to make this episode. Good for them. I mean, you never know what creators, might think of. Right? Okay. So this next one, I'm sure we all remember from our childhood. I mean, come on, we all grew up with SpongeBob, right? Well, who remembers the time Gary ran away? I know I do. Yeah, and also, who remembers that sad song? Yeah. So, next, our episode is, Have You Seen This Snail from SpongeBob? Oh boy. So, okay. Here we go. SpongeBob receives a paddle ball sent to him in the mail and begins to play with it. He is totally consumed by the challenge of hitting the ball and an absurd number of times and forgets Gary for 10 days. Gary feels neglected and runs away from home. SpongeBob is shaken from his infatuation with the arrival of Patrick and cannot find Gary. SpongeBob finds a note saying that Gary has left in search of a new owner. Meanwhile, Gary has wandered into a new city. A kind old lady discovers Gary and mistakes him for one of her pets, Miss Tuftsy. Gary is shown with love and food. And while SpongeBob goes to work sad and Gary is still missing, Mr. Krabs encourages SpongeBob to work, but SpongeBob misinterprets him and he takes the day off to look for Gary. He and Patrick put up posters and signs everywhere in hope of finding Gary. At the old lady's house, Gary has been fed a lot. The old lady puts out a fresh sheet of flyers given to her by Patrick. Upon reading them, Gary realizes that SpongeBob truly loves him and wants him back. He tries to leave, but instead of doing that, he ends up going to the closet filled with empty snail shells, where the old lady tries to feed him again. Gary finds that the old lady likely has sinister motivations. She is possibly trying to fatten and then eat him. He makes his escape, but the old lady chases him out onto the streets. Gary finds an alley snail, which the old lady now mistakes for Miss Tuftsy, and takes him home instead. Back home, SpongeBob gives up on the search for Gary and tries to forget about him by taking a walk, but his memories keep coming to mind and upsetting him. He can only reminded as the streets are filled with posters and signs for Gary, and SpongeBob hears a meow and turns around to find Gary at his side. He is overjoyed and sees his beloved pet again. And there you go. Okay guys, so I'm sorry about earlier. The sun was coming out and I pretty much, I had to, close the curtains. So yeah, so anyways, why don't we get back to this? So anyways, we're on to the very last episode, and the episode is the Ballad of Buster Baxter from Arthur. So let's get on with this. That's okay. Okay. The show begins with Arthur and Buster playing checkers while enjoying the cake Mr. Reed made to celebrate Buster's return. Buster is remarking how good it is to be back home. When the Brain arrives, Arthur reveals that while Buster was gone, he and the Brain started a checkers tournament and are scheduled to finish the remaining games. They try to let Buster join, but find it possible to play with 3 people. Buster agrees to just watch a contest to be with his friends again. Next day, Buster is surprised to find Arthur and the Brain remarking the story he and Arthur were writing before he left. He is shocked to find that one of Brain's they removed all the financial elements that Brain found to be unrealistic and illogical, making them much less exciting than what he and Arthur had written. Despite this, Arthur insists that Buster helped to finish their project. He suggests a scene with pirates riding dinosaurs, crushing buildings, but Brain finds it too unrealistic and suggests that the pirates ride horses and crush flowers instead. Buster is disappointed in how their project turned out while he was gone. Later, Buster sees Arthur and his friends leaving the movie theater. Buster is disappointed that Arthur went to see Carpeted Doom without him. However, Arthur reveals that he went to see Carsland, a series that Arthur and Buster used to hate. He says he caught Carebusterman and that all his friends are in the Carebuster fan club. Buster still hates Carebuster and he feels left out and leaves. His friends, however, think Buster feels he is above them because of his travels. The next day at school, Buster's friends think he is a snob and don't want him to sit with them at lunch. They suggest that he now likes supermarket foods like snails and that are not what the normal kids eat. Later, Buster finds out that his friends learned to square dance while he was gone. He can't get the steps right and keeps tripping and knocking people down. Embarrassed by his failure, he leaves and is again accused of acting like he is above them. Buster feels left out as he sees that he missed while he was away and feels isolated as his friends refuse to hang out with him. He confronts to Sue Ellen that really have very little changed while he was gone. He still enjoys all the things he did before he went on his trip. He then offers to play checkers with Sue Ellen, but she doesn't like to play it, leaving him feeling dejected again. Meanwhile, Arthur and his friends now seem convinced that they have nothing in common with Buster now and question whether he is truly their friend anymore. Arthur, however, suggests that they should learn more about the landmarks Buster saw, suggesting that maybe they would also like it if they just gave the idea a chance. Buster's friends plan to celebrate him a party, but Buster doesn't come. They think he doesn't even want to be their friend anymore. Meanwhile, Buster is feeling sad and lonely at home and can't even enjoy watching TV. His friends then realize that they forgot to invite him, so they go visit him. They look through his vacation pictures at the party, and Buster is glad to be having fun with his friends again. He says he was beginning to think that the space aliens have replaced them with robot clones, to make him feel sad, to which everyone agrees he is still the Buster they all know and love. Okay, Art Grateful sings the last part of his song to the viewers, only for Buster and Arthur to notice him and realize neither knows who the singing moose is. Arthur goes to tell his mother while Art walks off into the distance. And there you go. Although, there's one other thing I did want to point out. Now, the reason why I chose this episode was because when I found it on some random list and it kind of mentioned how having divorced parents seems, I felt, oh my God, that's so like me. Because I'm also a child with divorced parents too. So, yeah. Well, that's all for today. So, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.